Well, hello and welcome to another fun-filled edition of Adam's Music Box, where today I want to talk about one of the finest pure blues rock bands ever. They came out in the same era as the original Fleetwood Mac, slightly after John Mayall's Blues Breakers, and while they were very much true to that heavily improvised, bluesy, somewhat of a jazz influence at times background, they also took things into a rocking direction. You could even say the 10 Years After were one of the bands that really led to the birth of hard rock. Not said a lot, but they came before Zeppelin and Sabbath and Purple and Uriah Heep, certainly before Purple went into sort of full-time hard rocking. And they were very consistently great across all of their albums that had some really, really good songs. Now, in 1971, towards the end of their sort of first run, they came up with an album called A Space and Time, which contains their biggest international hit, I'd Love to Change the World. Now, this song is really sort of an archetype of your great song that begins with a slow acoustic feel, then crescendos, accelerandos, goes back down, goes back up, the tension and release, and it features one of the finest of many fine guitar solos by Alvin Lee, who was the leader of the band, and frankly one of the unsung great guitarists in an era of the Peter Greens and Eric Claptons and Jimi Hendrixes, taking the world by storm. There was also Alvin Lee, and he continued to play all around the world until he died tragically after a failed surgery in 2013. But the band were really tight with their classic lineup of Leo Lyons on the bass, Chick Churchill on the keys, and Rick Lee on the drums. Really, really good stuff. A Space and Time is definitely the most internationally commercial album, but another really good one is Cricklewood Green from 1970. Such a good album. Check out the song 50,000 Miles Beneath My Brain and Love Like a Man, which was something of a hit. Really, really good guitar soloing, really good. I would say proto heavy rock. The follow-up album recorded the same year. They didn't mess around, not really a band with overdubs. They were very raw. Watt from later that year, also very good. And the earlier albums too, going sort of backwards, Shush from 1969, really, really good album. I Don't Know That You Don't Know My Name is a fun little number. The Stomp, I Woke Up This Morning, was always a big number in their live set. Stonehenge before that, another good album, and prior to that, you've got Undead in 1968, and they were really rocking hard even as early as 67 when their debut album came out. They did a version of Spoonful. Cream was doing the same song at the same time. And Alvin Lee's solo material from the 70s and 80s really sort of carries on. I mean, the core four members of 10 Years After were something very special as a unit, but Alvin Lee, as the band's leader, was the superstar, and he's what I would call a guitar player's guitarist. Every major guitar player, whether they're blues, rock, progressive, even jazz fusion, they acknowledge that Alvin Lee is one of the purest and one of the best. But unfortunately, in the wider world, his name isn't quite as known as some of the people from his era, whether Robin Trower, one of my absolute favorites, or your sort of really well-known names, your Claptons, your Hendrixes, and to some extent your Peter Greens, another one. My favorite. So don't sleep on 10 Years After. They're a really good band. And because not many people talk about them anymore, maybe younger members of the audience don't know much about them. So definitely check them out. I think if you love guitar-based, heavy rock, blues style music, you're not going to be disappointed. Like, subscribe. We'll see you next time. Take care.